So now we're going to get into the bread and butter of what I consider super important fundamentals when it comes to the harmonica. The harmonica is not an easy instrument. It's actually rather difficult to play. And I would compare it to the human voice, but with the human voice on the outside of your mouth, which is kind of gross to think about, but it's also super cool because if you don't have like the best, graces when it comes to singing right away, the harmonica is a great alternative. And obviously, preferably, we want to get both of those skills up so that they're better. But right now, within our learning cycle, like this is where you're going to be reinforcing some of those skills that you get in what I'd like to call the 5 disciplines. So, I know discipline, it seems like a word, it's like, oh, I don't like it, but I'm telling you right now, to be disciplined is really, really great, especially when you're running into like problems on the harmonica. These 5 disciplines, they're kind of ways that you will avoid those problems to make sure that if you do run into a problem, then one of these disciplines will help you to like address it. So the first discipline is going to simply be your sitting position. Now, I know most people would be like, that's super basic, whatever. Like, obviously, you're going to be sitting. You can be standing as well. Right now, we're going to be focusing more so on sitting. Your body position is so crucial to get. If you don't have your body in line, all the other disciplines that you're going to be using, they're going to be thrown off. Now, I say that, but there is a caveat. You can get some of this right, even with a bad body position. A good body position, I like to think about it as a way to bring everything in. So let's get into that. Now, the second is going to be your hand hold. So your hand hold, there are a couple ways that we can go about this. The way that I started out, which I just could not for the life of me hold the harmonica how I wanted to. I started off with a right-handed hold. Now, the right-handed hold, it was okay, and I got away with playing a lot using the right-handed hold. And if it's like you just for the life of you can't get the left-handed hold, I get it. Like, I can help you one-on-one with that. It is something that can be troubling. If you are gifted and way better off than me, the right-handed hold is not where you want to start. It would be the left-handed hold. And so how I like to explain this left-handed hold is that you're going to make a C shape with your left hand. And then with your right hand and in the harmonica, you're going to put the harmonica within that God-given crevice. And then you want to line up your pointer finger and your thumb in such a way to where they're like in line. You don't want the pointer finger to go too far. You don't want your thumb to go too far. You want them to just be in line. Now, notice I'm also like flattening out my top fingers. You want to make sure that your top fingers are flat, at least at the beginning right now. And then what we'll do from this point is we're going to take our middle finger and use it as a nice little armchair support for the back comb so that you can push forward on it and it's not going anywhere. We want to make sure that's nice and secure. Once you do that, we're going to take our ring finger and our pinky and make this kind of wave thing happening. Like if you see that, like a crashing wave. And all we're going to do with our right hand is cover the opening that's being made with this hand shape. Once we get to that point, then the next thing for us to do is to just close our right hand nicely and neatly over that left hand. And once we get it, what I'd like you to do is to test whether or not we actually have like a good cup by muting the sound. And if you let go, you're going to notice that there's going to be an opening of that sound. Now that's going to be your left-handed hold. The hold that you probably we'll be using most of the time. Now, when we start getting into a little bit more of like advanced movements or like maybe intermediate, however you'd like to like categorize that, then there's going to be the both-handed hold, which I think this one is great. I learned this from Jason Ritchie, from Adam Gusso in particular, I think. This hold really helps if you're going to be making movements all across the harmonica. And so just to walk you through like a quick way to get into the both-handed hold is you're going to take both of your hands on either side of the harmonica. And then what you're going to do is you're going to bend your right hand knuckle and then place your thumb over the front of the comb. Now, once you do that, just like in the left-handed hold, we're going to take our right ring finger and pinky, we're going to bring it down, and then we're going to follow that with our right hand pointer finger. We'll bring that down. It'll look something like that. And then what we're going to do, this might be kind of confusing to see, but hopefully it makes sense. What we're going to do is we're going to slide our hand down in our left hand and get our thumb into this kind of door hinge position. We really want that door hinge position so we can easily cover our right hand. And if you do this right, you'll notice like there's this space between your pointer finger and the comb. All we're going to do is like bring our hand up so that we can, like, I should say your whole arm. We're going to bring the whole arm up so we can cover that space and then bring our hands in together again. And you should have something like this where your thumb is on the side, at least for now. You can move it around, but let's get used to it first. And then your right hand thumb is like on hole 6, 7, 8, depending on how your hands are made. That's where you're going to be placing your thumb. And it's a good stopper as well. So just to make sure that we've got this and to test our double-handed hold or both-handed hold, let's play. It seems pretty good. If it's nice and secure, it will feel awesome. If it's not, then there may be some extra steps you need to take. No matter what, go over this a few more times. If you do need some extra help, remember that you can film yourself and you can share it with me so that I can get back to you and address your specific issues. That'll be it for the right-handed hold, the left-handed hold, and the both-handed hold. Now, getting into embouchure. Embouchure is a fancy 5-cent word for your lips, your mouth, your tongue, all this stuff. Making sure that we have a good embouchure when we're playing the harmonica is essential. We can get it wrong a bunch of ways, but we can also get it right a couple ways. Now, the way that I would like to show you how to play is going to be with like a lip pursed approach. Now, a lip pursed approach in the shape of our mouth, I want you to kind of imagine like you going to the dentist office, and when they say ah, that's the shape you want to get into. You want to get into that ah. Right? But if you're thinking about just staying in the ah position, like you'd be thinking that just doesn't work if you try ah. There are spaces that are still like not closed. So what we're going to do is actually go from an ah position into a ooh position, where we're going to do what I like to call an ah-ish ooh. So it's an ah, ooh. So again, that ah, ooh. Now the reason why we want to do this is the ah is essentially opening up our throat, and the ooh is going to close off those spaces. So if you're ever like kind of stuck and you're like, man, I just keep getting leaky holes, it just doesn't sound good, I'm not getting like single notes straight, well, then go back to this ah-ish ooh. Start with the ah in the jaw, ah, and then with the lips, ah, ooh. And if you sound like a gorilla, you're probably doing the right thing. So now let's actually put this into practice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the ah, and then I'm going to shift into the ooh. Now notice what I did there. I was able to get the chord. I played 1, 2, 3 below, and you don't need to know like the exact notes right now. It is a C chord, but just focus on playing right now. We have that C chord, and then went to a single note. Went from 1, 2, 3 below to just 2 below. From going to that ah, going from that ah to the ooh. Now that's a really, really great thing that's going to help you to be able to get your single notes. The other thing that I want you to be thinking about as well, going from our chorded position to our single notes, one thing that you'll notice is if you just try to play with the harmonica position being straight, you'll get something like that. And maybe there's a song that calls for that, but at least for our purposes now, what I want you to do in full kind of operation is start with that ah, ooh, and then I want you to tilt up. So what we'll do first is go like that. Now, hopefully you're able to hear that. If not, it's okay. Is Lord willing, you'll be able to get that sense of the difference between the tone. But if you tilt the harmonica up, you're going to find this God-given pocket right there in your bottom lip that's going to allow for your breath to get this really big sound, this really big tone. And that's extremely desirable for the harmonica. It also is desirable at times to get a thinner tone, but what is harder is getting that bigger tone, at least for most people. So in my experience, so I encourage you to get there first and get used to this kind of tilt in the harmonica position. And then after doing the ah and the ooh and then tilt, and then just getting straight to it. That's going to be really helpful for your lip pursing embouchure. There are other embouchures, one in particular that I will talk about later, but that will be in the bonus material. This is all you need to get down for now. So have fun with it, and let's move on to our next discipline. So this is one of my favorites. This is our breath control, discipline 4. Now, sometimes when we think about like singing or if we think about playing harmonica, we think we have to breathe a bunch, or we need to breathe sufficiently, just like with singing, which you learned earlier. The same thing applies here. So when we're thinking about how much breath do we need to start with like a base. Now our base, just like with singing, is going to be just enough. Now let's go over this again because it's super, super crucial that we get this. So what we want to do is we want to take a big breath in and then blow all of it out. We'll hold that for like 5 seconds. And then take a breath in from our nose. That's all we need to start. And just so that you know where that came from, I learned that from Marnell Sample. Great vocal coach. You should definitely check out his stuff. Really awesome stuff. And I think that this is very essential for us when we're thinking about how much air and how to control the air. When I think of breath control, I'm thinking about how can I control my air. And I want you to think about it like that as well. A little bit different from singing, but a lot of similarities here. Now, the other thing that we can do once we establish like, okay, how much air do we need, right? is then we can start thinking about like actually implementing these kind of concepts, or that concept, another concept that I want to talk about, onto the harmonica. Now, this other concept that I want us to think about is what I like to call ocean breathing. So with your harmonica on holes 1, 2, and 3, I actually want you to play starting with a blow. We're going to blow this chord 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to draw 1, 2, 3. So blowing, drawing, breathing in. But the way that we're going to do this is we're going to control how we're approaching the breath. We're not going to allow ourselves to just gag or be exasperated by the air. We need to fight this idea of like gasping or the sensation that we have. We want to control how we breathe. So I've said enough. Let me explain that through doing it. 1, 2, 3, blow. Now, cool. What I was doing there, if you hadn't noticed, is I'm playing on the blow as long as I possibly can on the blow, depleting my lungs, and then by the time I'm like totally out, then I'm allowing the air to come into my lungs again on the draw. Now, this is in comparison of just like freaking out and then totally like dragging in the air. And if I'm being completely honest, I think that I let a little bit too much air out, so I was freaking out too. So it was perfect. But what I want you to do is fight that temptation. Like I did, mine wasn't perfect, but I want you to fight that temptation to just gasp, because that will affect the sound of the harmonica immediately. It would sound like, yeah, we don't want to sound like ducks, right? And I'm sorry if that was way too loud for your ears. We want to make sure that we're getting this kind of even tone by consciously deciding that we're letting that air in and not just letting it just drown completely, or feeling like we're drowning and then just gasping all of the air in. We want to fight that. That would be another way of thinking about breath control. Now, with these two exercises, the breath exercise you learned with singing on just enough air, with the exhale, hold 5 seconds, inhale, and then you're good. Even just a sniff on that one, by the way. And then this ocean breathing exercise, very meditative, very awesome. These two are going to really help you to get more in control of your playing with the harmonica. That leaves us with the last discipline. So discipline 5 is going to be our articulations. Now, this is kind of like a silly concept, but I really want you to like follow me here. Listen. So if you were to talk to somebody that was not enunciating when they speak, you might think of like, King of the Hill. You might think of that one dude whose name is escaping me at this time, but you're thinking it, maybe. It was where it's just not like understandable, not intelligible. So when we're playing harmonica, we want to play it kind of like how we speak. We want to articulate, to enunciate each of our phrases, each of our notes, whatever we're doing. So how I like to think about this and how I like to teach this is that we're given two articulators. So this would be our front articulation with the tip of our tongue, ta, da, and our back articulator being ka and ga. Now, if you play around with those different articulations, with our front articulations, ta, da, ka, ga, you'll notice that one is hard and one is soft. So with ta, it's very, terse, right? It's very automatic. With da, it's softer. It rolls a little bit more smoothly. And it's very similar with ka and ga. One is a little bit harder and faster. The other one is softer. So let's actually input what this would be like on the harmonica. So I want us to start with a ta and a da articulation. And we could do this on just the blow for now. Now notice the ta is very quick. It's, like I said, automatic, instant. When you play the da or the da articulation, there's a delay in you actually like hearing the notes sound. Now that delay is because we're softening the sound. And it's an ever so slight delay, but it's an even stronger softener of the ta articulation going into da. Now, we can do this as well with ka and ga. Now, if you notice when you play, ka is going to be very much like a hard articulation, and then ga is going to be a soft articulation. Now, when we're talking about hard and soft, it's very, very apparent which one is going to be hard and soft with that ka, that ga. But when we think about the delay is huge. So with both of our back articulations, they are farther away from the harmonica. When we have our front articulations, they're a lot closer because it's the tip of our tongue rather than the back of our tongue. So if you're desiring more a, delayed sound, one that has like a different character to it, a back articulation may be the way to go. Now, what we'll do in order to like practice these articulations is actually combine the two by playing them intermittently, one after the other. So let's start with a 1, 2, 3 blow chord, and all we're going to do is we're going to go ta, da, ka, ga. And it would sound like this. And then we'll do that on the draw. Ta, da, ka, ga. Cool. Now, I want you to, as you're playing, pay special attention to what you feel like. What are the sensations that you're running into as you're doing these front articulations, these back articulations? Does it really matter to you? Can you hear the differences? All these things. Become very aware with your instrument as if it was a connection to yourself. We want to be one with our instrument to a certain extent, without getting too out there with like hippie madness or whatever. But I hope that this was very helpful for you. To recap, our 5 disciplines are our body position, our hand hold, our embouchure, breath control, and articulation. We put all those things together, we're going to have ourselves a good time playing. So I want you to practice these things to the extent of like whenever you get to playing the harmonica, you're doing each of these things one after the other, like muscle memory, like everything we do within this course and that I'm teaching you. If we can get things locked into muscle memory, eventually we won't have to think about these things, we just do them. And that gives us the freedom to actually be creative and play our God-given songs. Instead of being like how do we do this again, right? So I got my sitting position. That's what I'm thinking. Then I'm thinking about my hand hold. I'm choosing to go into a left-handed hold. So I get that. Then I'm thinking, all right, embouchure. I can get a yawn in the back of my throat just to open up the back of my throat. And then I'm thinking about the ash ooh. I can do that. Going 1, 2, 3 blow. How much breath do I start with? Just a sniff. Assuming that we didn't take any breath before. And then articulation. Well, very cool. That was our 5 disciplines. Remember, if you have any questions, leave a comment. And if you want, you can send a video of you playing just so that I can see your progress. And I can send you a response video in response so that I can be checking your progress. But I hope this blesses you. God bless you. And Lord willing, I will see you in the next lesson.